Hi there, all the way from the UK. I'd like to say thank you for tuning in for this session this afternoon. Really hope you're enjoying the conference. Already got lots of ideas and inspiration from it. Session today is all about understanding how your supporters feel. And it's that word feel that I think is so important. We spend a lot of time analysing how much people give, response rates, opt-in rates, things like that, their behaviours. But we need to really understand also the other side of the relationship, which is about how they feel, and particularly about how we make them feel. So my name's Roger Lawson, and along with Richard Spencer, we are About Loyalty. We help charities, we help them grow loyalty because that helps them retain more donors and raise more money. We work with a number of charities across the UK, you can see them here, all of whom are passionate about the way their supporters feel, the way they build relationships and those experiences with their supporters that bring them in. And we really believe that loyalty and building a great supporter experience is a win-win game. It's not like supermarkets where if one supermarket destroys trust in its brand, another supermarket benefits. We're a very different sector. Whenever one charity does something good, the whole sector benefits. If a charity does something bad, the whole charity sector struggles and suffers because of it. So we work together, very strongly work together to grow loyalty and grow the real experience that their supporters are having when they support. Because we all share this absolute belief that how we make the supporters feel, how we make donors feel about giving to our causes is at the core of the relationship we have with them and the core of growing that relationship, growing their value and keeping them for a long time. So we talk about this concept of loyalty a lot. And I'd like to ask you a question. I'd like to ask you to just think for a second on who or what you are loyal to. Now, loyalty can mean different things to all of us. So who or what are you loyal to? Think maybe, I don't know, an organization, a person, a campaign, a sports team. Just have a think about that for a second. So hopefully you've got someone, something in your mind, and you started thinking about your relationship with them. Well, you can probably guess, as my example, I'm going to talk about my loyalty to the world famous, I'm sure you've heard of them, Reading Football Club. Okay, maybe not that world famous. But my story goes back to the early 1970s, to my dad taking me to Elm Park to home matches. And it continues this day, 40 years plus on. That involves my time, my money, wearing silly clothes in public. It's even right down to the mug I drink my coffee out of. It affects how I feel. We're doing pretty well this season, so yep, feeling pretty good, feeling optimistic, full of hope. But my wife will tell you, it affects the mood I'm in on a Saturday night if we win or lose. So I asked you to think about what you're loyal to and maybe who you're loyal to. Who did you think of? Was it your partner? Was it a shop, an airline, when we could use them, a service, your work, a campaign, a political party, a charity? Yes, charity. I'd like you to think about why you feel loyal to them. Do they give you something that you value, that you find is important? Do they offer you better service than anyone else? Do they offer you something different to anyone else? Just have a think about why you are loyal to them. And then think about it the other way. Your loyalty, how does that make you behave? Do you always choose them at the expense of not going somewhere else? If that's an airline, that's sort of optional. But if that's your partner, then I sincerely hope you answered the last question, yes. Do you go out of your way to help them if they need your help? Does it define in some way who you are and your identity? These are important questions, and loyalty gets to the very heart of who we are and how we feel about things. The one thing I can absolutely guarantee as you've been thinking about loyalty is that you've all been thinking differently about it. It's incredibly personal. It's unique to you. It's different to everyone. My loyalty to Reading Football Club is not like anyone else's, because my story with Reading Football Club is not the same as anyone else's. And it's exactly the same for you with whoever, whatever you chose a minute ago, just in terms of your loyalty. It's irrational. Trust me, there are very rarely good, sensible reasons for supporting Reading over and above supporting the Manchester United, Manchester City's, Liverpools of this world. But we just can't help it. It might not be logical, it might not be rational, but it is who we are. It's very much about me. It defines who I am. And of course, we're all different roles. I'm a father, a husband, I'm a club leader, I'm a tennis player, I'm a Ocado shopper, I'm a friend, I'm a colleague, I'm a Reading fan. They're all parts of who I am. It defines who I am. And this loyalty to these people, these organizations, these clubs, to some extent define who I am. And as you can see from what I've been saying, loyalty is highly emotional. It's absolutely in the heart. It's all of those things, personal, irrational, it's about me, and it's highly emotional. So let's now think about that in a charity context. We talk about loyalty a lot in our sector. Again, it can mean different things to different people. I'm sure you've worked out that for me, it's an emotion, it's a feeling. We use the definition that loyalty is the feeling of support or allegiance that someone feels towards a cause or a charity. So think about a charity that you support. No. Think about charity that you love. Does anyone else feel the same way about that charity that you do? Or is it absolutely personal to you? Does everyone else have the same reasons, the same experiences for supporting them? No, I don't think anyone else will. I think it is absolutely personal. Can you explain why you love them? Can you explain why you love them and not another cause? Or not another charity that maybe does very similar work, works in the same area? Probably quite difficult. It's actually quite irrational and difficult to be precise about why we support that one organisation. And again, it's down to your own personal story about why you've chosen them or why they've chosen you in some ways over someone else. Again, is it about you? Is it about what's important to you? Would you tell people about it? Would you tell people that you are a supporter of them? I'm sure if the organisations that you absolutely love, you would, and you would speak about them and you tell people about them. And of course, it's emotional. It's an emotional connection that you have, that you feel with them. And that's really important. Loyalty is that emotional feeling that we have. So let's think about why loyalty is important. You're probably thinking, oh, it's all emotional, therefore it's all a bit touchy-feely, a bit fluffy, it's all a bit unmeasurable. And how can something so fluffy be so incredibly important? Well, I'm here this morning or today to say, sorry, no, that's not true. Nothing could be further from the truth. Loyalty is a very real, very tangible, and you'll see in a minute, very measurable concept. And it's important. So before I get too much into this, I'd like to share some research with you today about why people support charities and what creates that loyalty that makes someone want to carry on supporting a charity for years and years into the future. The research started with hypotheses, as good research does, looking into what creates loyalty and what gets someone to really feel that they love this charity and support this charity. So we had 12 different hypotheses about what those might be. So running through them, personal connection. Is loyalty created by having a personal connection to the cause? Whether that's that me or someone close to me has suffered from a medical condition that the charity that exists to either support people with or undertakes research to try and cure. Or is it that I've been to that particular part of the world, or that I went to that university, or I was helped by that hospital? Whatever that personal connection is, how important is that in it? Is it about familiarity? And I've seen a lot in qualitative research that I run, where people say, oh yes, I know what that charity does. I absolutely love that charity. They feel that feeling that they know what you do. How important is that in terms of creating loyalty? May not always be right, but thinking that they know what you do is really important in there. How important is perceived performance? Their belief that you are effective at what you do and seeing what you do. Or how important is shared values? And the shared values that I support you because you share my views, my values, my views, my belief in how the world should be, and addressing that. Amnesty is a great example of that, a very values-led organisation. Joining Amnesty because you share their values, that every individual has rights that need to be met, and people need to be able to live to the rights that they have. How important is commitment? Now, commitment is that passion for that cause. It's that you're doing something that I absolutely love and I think is really, really important. That commitment to really supporting you and joining you in your goals, meeting your goals. Then there's the concept of engagement. And we know the stats that those people who support you in more than one way tend to support more valuably and longer. Loyalty can obviously create engagement, but does engagement also create loyalty? And it does to some extent. All of these are important to very greater and lesser extents. How important for supporters is the concept of social capital, that sense that actually I'm going to look good. If I support you, I will look good in front of my colleagues and peers. To what extent is loyalty an expression of your identity? Does defining who you are or who you support actually in some way define who you are? Or what about satisfaction? Satisfaction, happiness with the way people communicate, the charities communicate with you, and particularly how they fundraise from you. How important is community orientation? That concept that we're in this together. I'm not just going to give you $15 and hope that you make the problem go away, but actually I'm going to help you and I'm with you on this journey to achieve the goals that we want to achieve. Concept of knowledge. Does supporting you give me some knowledge, give me opinions that I wouldn't otherwise have, and how important is that to me? And also trust. Do I believe that you're going to do what you say you're going to do? You're going to do it in the right way. Now, of course, they're all important, but the research that we did, we went to supporters of 5 of the largest UK charities, and we had over 20,000 responses asking questions within each of these areas, and also asking them about their likelihood and intention to carry on supporting. And what we found was that of course they're all important, but 3 of them were particularly important in determining just how strongly someone feels about the charity and wanting to carry on supporting them. And those 3 were commitment, that passion for the cause, that passion for what you seek to achieve, satisfaction, that happiness with the way you talk to them, and trust, that they believe that you do what you promise. And if you think about it, it's obvious, isn't it? I'm absolutely passionate about what you do. It's important for me. I like the way you talk to me, and I trust you to get on and do it in the right way. Really sums up many things about what donors would want from a charity. We'll come back to those, but I also want to draw out that it's not just at that level. There are concepts that sit behind commitment, satisfaction, trust as well. So commitment, obviously there's the commitment questions we ask, but some of the questions around personal connection and drawing out and letting people think about why they have a personal connection to your cause is really important in terms of them then being passionate about your cause and feeling that it's important to them. And the concept of risk or personal impact, the belief that they're making a difference and that if they were to stop, then that's going to cause some problems, is very strong in that terms of my commitment to supporting you. If we're looking deeper at satisfaction, obviously we've got specific areas around satisfaction, but the concept of knowledge was also really important in that. So giving people something, and the example here is knowledge and opinions and things that they wouldn't otherwise know or get, but giving back to the supporter, and that's one way that you can give back to the supporter and make them feel valued and make them feel better about themselves. And then when it comes to trust, thinking about perceived performance, the impact that you have, and actually the delivering what you promise you're going to do. And also the values and ideals comes in there about sharing values and ideals. as well. Now, these are all concepts. I mentioned about things being loyalty being measurable. These are all concepts which are measurable. Now, you may not be able to measure that concept of loyalty. And if I ask you how loyal you are about something, it's incredibly difficult question to answer. But what I can do is I can ask you about how passionate you are about a particular cause. I can ask you about whether you have a personal connection and how important that is to you. I can ask you about satisfaction. I can ask you about drivers of satisfaction, whether you speak with the right tone of voice, and whether they feel thanked, and whether they feel valued by you. And I can ask you about how much you trust. And behind that, I can ask about whether you believe that you're effective, whether the donor believes that you're effective in what you do. Or whether they believe that you share their values and ideals. Now, these are all measurable. And then once you can start to find a way of measuring these things, and once you know how they add up to create this overall concept of loyalty, then you can start to see just why loyalty is so incredibly important. And what we've found, both in further research since then, but also we tracked those 20,000 people that responded to the original survey and saw their actual giving over time after continuing the survey. What we found is that the greater someone's emotional loyalty, the more the holes in your leaky bucket were plugged. And we can see there's that loyalty really is a predictor of value. We track for when we measure loyalty. Every person who completes one of our surveys ends up with a loyalty score. The chart you're looking at the moment, going from along the bottom axis from left to right, is the loyalty score. It goes from 1 to 7 because the numbers and the low levels are relatively small. We've taken them out, but you can see there that it goes from the chart shows loyalty from 3 to 7. And what we've tracked on here is the proportion of people within each of the loyalty bands that say they are likely or very likely to continue supporting the charity. And what you can see is at the left-hand end, you've got 30–40% of people that in those low loyalty levels who are saying they'll continue supporting. By the time you get up to people scoring 6, 7, you're up at sort of 95% of people saying they're going to carry on supporting you next year. And you can really see it clearly that as loyalty increases, so does someone's likelihood and intention to continue supporting you. And you can see it coming through just how important loyalty is. I also mentioned that we tracked the original people that filled in, that completed the first survey, the 20,000 people from there. What we found is that every 1 point difference in their loyalty score, once we'd stripped out all the other impacts of demographics and regular giving versus cash donor retention and things like that, once we'd stripped out all those other factors, we found that for every 1 point difference in someone's loyalty score, that was they were 5.1% more likely to support again the following year. 5.1% higher retention year on year is massive. If you take a sort of average size file, that can very quickly add up to a lot of money. This is a cumulative over 5 years for 25,000 supporters giving $50 a year. It can add up very quickly to a lot of money. So I want to come back. So hopefully that's got the concept of loyalty, of what loyalty is, commitment, satisfaction, and trust, and why it's so important. I just want to spend a bit of time, for the rest of the time, talking about what you can do to grow commitment, satisfaction, and trust, and how important they are. So let's revisit what they are again, just to remind ourselves. And let's put this back in a context I feel very comfortable with. This is us on a Saturday afternoon, and singing away embarrassingly, and no, I'm not going to do it here. I'm ready till I die, I'm ready till I die, I know I am, I'm sure I am, I'm ready till I die. I mean, that's commitment, isn't it? Till I die. And that's the donor relationships we want as well. Commitment is all about a shared dream of what you can achieve together. That vision of what you can do, the goal that your organization exists to meet and achieve. It's about making sure that goal and you are important to the supporter, so they're not just a supporter of you, but they're committed to you, so that they're singing for you till I die. It's about sharing your dream, sharing what's important. So what do I mean by about sharing your goals? Well, goals, I want to give an example here. Many of you will have heard of Cancer Research UK. Of course, it's a UK charity. It's the largest UK charity and cancer research charity. When they were formed over 20 years ago now, they really focused on a single simple message of beating cancer. Together we will beat cancer as one of their first straplines. And that strapline has stayed with them all the way through. So many different articulations about beating cancer. We'll beat cancer sooner. And help children like me beat cancer. Helping to beat cancer sooner with procurement technology. Cancer Research UK, business beats cancer. It's a theme, it's a simple theme that just underlies everything they do. But actually it's a really big organization-wide theme, simple goal. And that's what allows people to get really passionate about Cancer Research UK. As I say, a big charity, but that simple messaging is done so well. And at that big scale, that's something that we can absolutely get passionate about. I'm not going to get passionate about people in white coats with test tubes and Bunsen burners and things like that, but I will get passionate about beating cancer. That's that goal that's important, not the how you do it, but the goal. Or at a much smaller, more detailed level, but just as brilliantly done. And this is a decades-old ad, but it's still absolutely brilliant. Make a blind man see. It's not about I can fund an operation, I can pay for a doctor, I can pay for someone to be out and providing the right medication for them. What's the impact that I can do? I can make a blind man see. That's going to get me excited. That's going to get me out of bed in the morning. It's that goal. That's people get passionate about the goals and about the aims that you have. And that's if you want to grow commitment, you need to talk to people at that level. Give people a goal they can get excited about and join you with, and can be part of. So that's commitment. Let's talk about satisfaction now. Satisfaction is about giving your supporters the joy of an experience of giving to you. Shouldn't giving to charity be a really joyful experience? I go to Reading matches, obviously. I'm going to bring the story up to date now. 40 years from when I first used to go, I now take my son and daughter from home. We pick up my dad. My dad used to take me. Now we take him to the matches. And on the way, we stop at the Reading station. And we pick up my son, who gets my other son, who gets the train across. We go along. We make a day of it. We'll go out for lunch and turn up early and make a really good day of it. We'll go to the game. Let's be honest. Quite often, I sit through 90 minutes of turgid, depressing, really poor quality football. But just every now and again, if you're in a relegation battle against Wigan, and it's a really important match, you can be 2-1 down going into extra time or injury time, and you get an equaliser, and then 97 minutes or 7 minutes into injury time, last kick of the game, the corner comes across, and Jakub Matey stoops and heads the ball into the bottom corner, and you win 3-2. You forget about the first 96 minutes. It's just pure joy, pure elation. And that's what giving to a charity should be like, the pure joy bit, not the turgid bit at the start. We should be giving people that joy when they give to us, when they make a difference, when they really see the success of what they want to achieve. We should be doing something really special for them that stands out. We talk about thanking and the importance of thanking. I want to give you an example here of what is a brilliant piece of thanking, because they haven't just sent the usual, dear, in this case, Kirsty, thank you so much for your donation of $25. This is what we've already spent it on. Thank you very much. They've gone out of their way to recognize who she is and build something completely unique for her. Play this.
I've been trying to do it right. I've been living a lonely life. I've been sleeping here instead. I've been sleeping in my bed. Sleeping in my bed. So show me family, all the blood that I will bleed. I don't know where I belong. I don't know where I went wrong. But I can write a song. I belong with you, you belong with me, you're my sweetheart. I belong with you, you belong with me, you're my sweetheart.
Building satisfaction of supporters is all about making them feel special, valued, important, making them feel that they're able to make a difference. And if you can do that by offering them a little bit of magic at the same time, then you've really hit the jackpot. And then finally, let's look at trust. Trust is about about how you do things, and it's about delivering on your promises. In particular, we often talk about trust and we worry about the concept of sort of CEO salaries and admin costs and things like that. What we've seen in our research is that when you talk to donors, that's much less of an issue. What's an issue is actually, are you achieving what you promise you're going to achieve? I speak to non-donors as well. They will often get hung up on CEO salaries and admin costs, and that makes me think that probably that's a bit of an excuse for not giving rather than anything else. Donors, I'm really interested. If you can really demonstrate to your donors the impact of what you do, then they will trust you to get on and do it. Just an idea for doing that here. The idea of personal impact reports. How long has someone been giving for? One of the things we struggle with is, for example, regular givers, and it's very difficult because there isn't a specific moment to go back and say thank you, is there? So sometimes it slips. Too often it slips. Well, why not? The concept of a personal impact report. You've been giving for 3 years, and this 3 years, this is what's happened because of your support. That's about building trust, because it's about building the proof that with their donations, you are making a difference. And that's going to get them to want to carry on supporting you. So I want to finish with one video or another video that I just think brings all this together. And I want you to look for it as we're going through. I want you to look for cues for the commitment, for satisfaction and trust. Commitment is about people like me. It's about stories. We haven't really talked about stories and the importance of stories. That's a whole other concept. But it's about really demonstrating the goal and what we're trying to achieve for real people and giving hope. It's about satisfaction because it's a lovely thank you. How good would you feel as a donor if you saw this having given to them? And it's another magic moment. And it's about trust because you can see the impact for Megan and therefore knowing that you're really making a difference. And that in this case, NDCS is really making a difference. So I'd just like you to watch this video and look for those cues for commitment, satisfaction, and trust.
Look in there.
My name's Megan. I'm 5 years old.
I'm Sherry, I'm mum to Megan and she's profoundly deaf. Megan was diagnosed at 2 weeks old. To us that was a huge shock. We didn't know anybody that was deaf, we didn't have any experience of deafness, and it was the complete unknown. It was a whole mix of emotions, everything hit you at once. The questions of would she be able to talk, what can she hear, because we still didn't know exactly. I knew nothing about deafness. The National Deaf Children's Society has helped us most with the information, but there's also somebody to help at the end of the phone. They're very friendly, and it's just knowing that there's a person who has the answers there to provide you the support when you need it. Megan's first words was just after she was 1, which was mummy, which was a really good victory for me. That was amazing. It was really, really good. It was just unexpected as well. She was just in her pushchair and she just looked up and said, mummy. And it was sort of overwhelming because we didn't know it was coming and we'd been working towards her first words for such a long time. And also it gives you a little bit of hope. It was really hard to decide for Megan to have cochlear implants. It's a big operation, so we spent a really long time reading all the information we could. Straight after Megan had her operation, she came round and she had these huge bandages on her head. She was swollen. You kind of really hoped you'd done the right thing at that point. But just to see her smiling and eating biscuits within about an hour, she was back to herself quite quickly, which was really nice. From then on, she's come on leaps and bounds. Her speech really started developing, her personality came out even more. Megan has no barriers now. She can do whatever she wants to do. She has tons of ambition. When she wants to do something, she does it. Just know she's going to use her confidence. We would just like to say a really big thank you to the supporters that donate to the charity. They are helping lots of children like Megan. This information that the charity provide and the support is really beneficial, and it helps you when you're having a really difficult time and you don't know the answers yourself. Is that true?
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you wave to the cameras like this? And can you say thank you? Thank you for supporting us. Like...
I think it's brilliantly done. It's got commitment, satisfaction, and trust absolutely all the way through it. So I'd just like to say thank you so much for tuning in today. I hope that's helped you understand the importance of knowing how your donors feel. I hope that's helped you understand what sits behind how they feel, that you can see it's a real tangible part of the relationship. And I hope it's given you some ideas to go out and change it. I'm sorry I can't be with you for the Q&A today, but Rich and I would be really happy if you've got any questions to hear from you, got any thoughts. The details are on the screen now. Otherwise, thank you again for joining this session today, and I hope you really enjoyed the rest of the conference.